Hello, students. This is the video lecture that I am recording. Video games, current issues, current trends, or at least some semi-current information to update from the last video lecture that I did, which was just about video game history. Okay, now first off, I want to say a couple of caveats, and just to put this into context, that I am fascinated by video games. However, I don't play current video games or modern video games. I think my brain is not wired to do so. I grew up in the era of classic video games, the golden age of arcades. So anything that requires movement along the Z axis, I can move left, right, like Pac-Man and Dig Dug. I can do those games, but anything that requires movement along the Z axis, I honestly believe that my brain is not wired to do that. And anything that requires the two-hand controller thing, I mean, I'm old school. One button, one stick. That's me. One button, one stick. So I'm relying upon some information from students and other people. Thank you, everyone who sent me some information. Big thanks to Liberty Carter. Major props to Liberty Carter for sending me some information. So I'm going to present some information, just mention some subjects that I think should be on your radar, and try and end with some key points, some takeaways. So if you're not interested in video games, you can at least try and get something, some insight out of this. I think video games are a fascinating art form, a fascinating form of media, and hey, they are a growing media industry. So they certainly demand at least an entire module in JMS 200. Heck, we could do a whole class on video games. Anyway, here we go. First up, I just want to take a step back for a moment and acknowledge that a great many things are lumped under the category of video games. Here is a definition I got from the dictionary, Oxford Dictionary. A game played by electronically manipulating images produced by a computer program on a television screen or other display screen. So this encompasses a great many things, and it's sometimes hard to make generalizations about video games because you have very simple casual games that could be played on a smartphone, something you could control with your thumb. And then we have these very immersive, graphic heavy, intense games you play with headphones, play with other people logged in online. So there's just a whole spectrum of things that we call video games. This list I actually pulled from Wikipedia. Shh, don't tell other professors at SDSU that I took something from Wikipedia. All just between us, okay? But this kind of suggests the broad category of stuff that's out there, from adventure games and puzzle games, strategy games, role-playing games, MMO, massively multiplayer online games, where you could be playing with thousands and thousands of people, or heck, tens of thousands of people all logged in to a particular platform together. And then there's something they call sandbox or open world games. And here we're now getting onto the edge of what is actually a video game and what is just sort of an online interactive experience. For example, there was this thing called Second Life. I'm not sure if it even exists anymore. If it does exist, it's not what it used to be. It's something like The Sims, if you know that sort of online simulation where you would create a persona and interact with other people, other actual people in this virtual world. Again, it's something very similar to the metaverse, for example. These are not actually games because there's no points to be accumulated. There's no goal. For example, Minecraft could be lumped into this category as well. But these are something akin to video games and sort of overlap with video games, but other people would say this constitutes a different type of media product. This has been on my mind a lot. I actually started to play Wordle a couple of weeks ago. It's kind of like a crossword puzzle. This would be, I do think it's a video game. It's considered a puzzle game. It hasn't been around for that long. I'm looking at some notes here. Hasn't been around that long. Actually was developed in, wow, yeah, went public in October 2021. So that's not that long ago. Went public in October 2021. It started to get popularity immediately. The idea here is that every day there is a word that has 5 letters. You have to guess. You throw out a word that has 5 letters. And if you get a green square, that means your letter is correct and in the correct location. I did pretty well. I think I did pretty well. You know, I want to pat myself on the back. Purchased by the New York Times for more than $1 million. Okay, more than $1 million for this incredibly simple thing. So the New York Times buys it. It's free to play online. They're trying to attract people to come. Hopefully, if you're on their site, then you're going to sign up for the newspaper. This is a weird way to get people to come to your newspaper, but it is a way. It is a way. And it's also expanding and pushing the boundaries of what kind of content should even be in a newspaper. Now, here is something that maybe you could take away, a good takeaway from the video lecture. It's a growing model for generating revenue. You have these games, these free mobile games. Maybe, you know, you play on your phone, something that's very, very simple. It's free to download and it's free to get into it, but then you purchase, they call it in-app purchases. Once you're in the game, you can purchase extra levels or whatever. You can get some extra bonus by actually paying real world money through your credit card. And a lot of parents are concerned about this because, you know, kids like to play on phones and tablets and iPads and things like that. It's a great way to keep your kid entertained while you're trying to have a conversation or eat dinner, for example. And then next thing you know, lo and behold, you turn around and wow, your kid racked up thousands of dollars of debt on a credit card. You thought they were just clicking away over there in the corner, and they were draining your bank account. When I was doing a search for information on in-app purchases, I found this quote right here from a website. Candy Crush is evil. Candy Crush, that's big, big. Maybe some of y'all play Candy Crush. So I think we are already seeing an expansion of this idea into other kind of games. This is some information that Liberty Carter shared with me. Yeah, that there's other kind of games, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Call of Duty, Valorant, I guess that's how you say that, League of Legends, allow you to kind of come in and then you can actually purchase extra skins, banners, things like that. Here we have this Valorant Champions 2022 bundle. The bundle from 2021 made $18.7 million. That's $18.7 million, okay? To a middle-aged guy like me, that's kind of remarkable for money, but I'm not laughing at it. I'm just, you know, laughing at it and envious, whatever that word is, that, you know, I kind of am shocked, bemused, and also envious that I didn't think of it myself. So that I think is an interesting revenue model that might be transported to other industries or other games. Okay, now we have this big area that's growing, cloud gaming. Okay, cloud gaming. And what the idea here is that we already have streaming games or downloadable content, right? That you don't have to actually purchase the physical artifact. We see this with newspapers, with magazines, with films, with music. We see it with video games as well. So you don't have a console or a cartridge or something you blow on for your old school people out there. Now it just kind of comes in through the internet. Cloud gaming sort of takes it to the next level. You don't even need a console or a fancy computer in your house now that you connect to. Imagine you connect to another computer, even through something as simple as your phone, or your tablet, you could connect to another computer. That other computer has the fancy processors and the supercomputer power and could play these graphic rich and very intense games. So you're literally playing the game. You have a very simple device in your lap or in your hands, but you're actually playing the game through some other device, which allows you access to games which you otherwise wouldn't have access to. And you know, maybe your little tablet doesn't have the processing power to play that game. So it allows you access to things. Google experimented with this. They had a service called Stadia. It didn't work out very well. Netflix has now said that they're going to get into it. So I think everyone is going to try and do it. Microsoft is making some big moves in this area. This graphic that you're looking at right here is showing a prediction for how much the cloud gaming market is going to grow. Okay, those are billions of dollars. From in 2021, 1.4 billion, say 1.5 billion. That is a phenomenal growth rate. If it actually goes up to 6.3 billion in 2024, that is a phenomenal growth rate. And maybe when I'm teaching this, class 6, 7, 8 years in the future, maybe this will be even bigger, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And Microsoft says more than 20 million people have used its Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is growing faster than it had thought. It's growing faster than it had thought. Okay. And we also have, keeping on the theme of Microsoft, Microsoft has acquired Activision, as well as the companies Blizzard and King. I'm reading from the notes here that Liberty Carter sent me. This is huge because now Microsoft and the Xbox brand have a monopoly on all games from these companies, including one of the biggest franchises ever, a little something called Call of Duty, which even I've heard of. Even I've heard of Call of Duty. And we have seen these console wars between Sony and Microsoft going on for a while. But now Microsoft may be taking it to the next level. You don't need a console. You don't need the fancy Xbox. So you don't even need the PlayStation. You could just, with a computer, log into this Xbox Game Pass service and play all these games. So that might be the way of the future. Now, a little bit about Twitch. Twitch is a platform you can go to and you can watch people stream all sorts of things on Twitch. It's kind of a live streaming platform. The main thing, at least that I know of it, is people streaming video games. They're playing video games live. You can watch them play the video games live. And during the first part of the pandemic, surprise, surprise, viewership went way up. This chart here shows on the left there, it's the number of hours watched, broken down by, I think those are by days, marked along the x-axis at the bottom. And you can see it's gone up, right at the beginning of the pandemic there in March 2020. It goes up. So people are stuck at home, and what are they going to do? And one of the things that they choose to do is to watch people playing games on Twitch. And you can actually make money. Some information was leaked. I don't think it was an official leak, but the information is out there from about a year ago. And the top 100 streamers are making $32,000 a month. That is very good. I am envious. I am both, again, I am shocked, incredulous, bemused. I want to laugh at this, but I'm also envious. That's a lot more money than I make, I'm going to pull out here for a moment, and I'm going to just share the screen. I'm going to switch over to Twitch, find a live stream. For those of you who've never experienced Twitch or seen what it's like, I'm going to find a stream or two just so you can get a sense of it. I think it's incredibly chaotic. Visually, it's chaotic. Again, I'm an old man. I'm middle-aged. I don't understand what the heck I'm looking at. But people seem to be watching this. People do seem to be watching this. And that's what I'm going to do. Okay. We're watching someone play a game, League of Legends. I don't know. A guy with that League of Legends is?
Enemy has been slain.
So much fun. I mean, so we literally win the level 1 fight if she just starts D-Blade. But we started Longsword because it's good against Nautilus Twitch. Because you need the extra pots because you're going to get put down a lot.
Only say that because these are two inherently contradictory statements. Okay. You only say that when you just don't give a shit. You know that your audience is going to fucking listen and go, yeah, you're right. Fetterman is pretty fucking bad. Okay.
Anyway, hope you got something out of that. The next thing I'm going to talk about, I don't have anything to say about it other than esports. I don't have anything to say about esports other than it's a thing. There are organized leagues. I know they're very, very big in South Korea and elsewhere, but I know it's big in South Korea, where people get together and they have teams and then they play video games and they can actually win money doing this. There is a debate as to whether or not this is actually a sport, because it's entirely mental and there's nothing physical really about it. But I suppose you need to be in reasonably good shape to just stay awake for these long game matches. You can't be completely out of shape. But anyway, I found a clip of some people playing a game online. I'm going to drop it in to the video lecture right here again, so you can get a glimpse of it. I don't understand what the heck is going on. It's some people playing a game, and then there's commentary as if you're watching a traditional sporting event doing play-by-play. Visually, I can't make sense of what's going on, but just know that it's a thing. Esports is a thing. That's all you need to know.
Plus that, you are getting, essentially flat stats for every mark. It's not just the range, you get bonus damage as well on your ability. So everyone worth quite a bit of gold here. Ghost are going to be starting up the Herald. They are swapping bot towards top, so they are looking to move heavily towards this, but EDG is going to try to match.
Earlier, oh, hang on a second, as you rightly said, as all of EDG looking to contest this. I think we're going to be way too late, though. Yep, that will be secured. They need to pick it up, though. Beryl is pessimistic.
Not ulti, Piercer can't go for it.
He
So
can't.
they get 300 gold from the Herald kill, but they will not get the charge.
So
It's a 40-second timer.
Just an objective that ends up dropping. But they
Beryl.
have their eyes on it. He wants it. Beryl, is he going to go for it? Oh, he's too
Low.
flashed
Oh.
away. Won't be able to secure it, which means the EDG small victory there as they get that summoner spell out.
So the Entertainment Software Association is not a neutral observer when it comes to the video game industry. They are advocates for the video game industry and trying to promote the video game industry. So everything that you see in this slide deck, take with a grain of salt, okay? Because they're not impartial observers. And I've been looking at their sort of annual report that they put out. Been looking at it every year for a few years. I love the photographs that they use. The people seem to be having way more fun than seems normal, but I like it. It's just people they're really excited. They're really, really excited. Here you have this family very excited. Here we have some stats about the video game community, and they are stating, again, these are not neutral observers, that 66% of Americans play video games at least weekly. If you have such a broad definition of video game, as I said at the start of the lecture, that number makes eminent sense. And then look down here towards the bottom, sort of right there, they're saying the gender breakdown, 48% identify as female and 52% identify as male. The popular stereotype is that video gamers are all men, but they're saying that, it's almost a 50-50 split. But again, when you take the definition of video game very broadly, that makes sense. What are some of the benefits of playing video games? Most people say it's beneficial in some way. It can help with your creative skills, your teamwork and collaboration skills, your communication skills, mental stimulation. So there's a range of benefits that the Entertainment Software Association is claiming coming from playing games. Now we have game preferences by platforms for people who like to play games on their smartphone. Puzzle games seem to be the most popular, which makes sense. Arcade, in this sense, arcade game refers to a pretty graphically rich game that's a lot of frantic play, a lot of button mashing, the kind of thing you might be doing in an arcade, distinct from playing Bejeweled or Candy Crush. Console players, now we see a preference for arcade and action games. Gaming consoles are designed for exactly that type of experience. And then PC players, we see, puzzle games being the most popular. Now we have some, again, these people seem to be just having so much fun. They're so excited to be playing video games. Now we have some demographic information. All right, now 18 to 34, which is a demographic that includes most of the people watching this video lecture. I know that's a generalization, but I'm pretty comfortable in saying that most of y'all are in the 18 to 34 age range. Game consoles and smartphones are very popular, and the preference is arcade games. 62% of people prefer games, arcade games. And look at the stuff on the right. Wow. 84% play for 3 or more hours a week. Maybe that doesn't seem like a lot. It doesn't really seem like a lot. But here we see some information associated with the 18 to 30 demographic. Now we get in sort of the next age range, 35 to 44. Puzzle games are now even more popular. And now we do see a marked preference for smartphones. This group of people are not playing on consoles quite as much. People are getting a little bit older. Maybe people have jobs and kids now, but they are playing on their smartphones. Okay. 77% play on a smartphone. And now it's 75% of people playing 3 or more hours a week, whereas previously that number was a little bit higher. Okay, now moving on up. Now we have the 45 to 54. Again, we see a preference for smartphones. Gaming consoles even lower now. Okay, even a fewer percentage are playing on the gaming consoles, and puzzle games remain very, very popular. Puzzle games remain very, very popular. Now we have the 55 to 64. Consoles is not even showing up here as an option for, I mean, I'm sure some play on consoles, but people are playing, some are playing on their computer, 65% are playing on their smartphone. So consoles doesn't even show up here as an option. And puzzle games, again, very, very popular. And 71% are playing for more than 3 hours. So there's some people playing a lot, but maybe not as much as people in the younger groups. And then we have 65 plus. Again, there's no consoles showing up here. Smartphones and computers are where people are playing games, and puzzles are even more popular. Keep your mind sharp. Keep your mind sharp. All right, Entertainment Software Association also has the best-selling games. This is for 2021, the last year for which we have full data. Call of Duty, there's 2 different Call of Duties. I guess they're different games, whatever. I guess there are 2 versions of Call of Duty. And then you have Madden and Pokemon Black Pearl. So those are the kinds of games people would play on computers and consoles. And now we have the top grossing mobile games. Okay. Candy Crush, which I already mentioned, right? It's free, but you got to pay. You can pay for stuff inside of it. I think Roblox is the same kind of thing. And then you have other top grossing mobile games as well. I don't know. Never heard of Garena Free Fire. Never heard of that. I learned something new every day. Some key points. Again, if you don't care about video games, and you just suffered through this because it was required and mandatory, here's, I hope, the important points I hope you get out of it. There's many, many different types of video games, and video games are branching into different forms. So we are not going to see a decline in this form of media. If anything, we're going to see an increase in this form of media. This free model, I think, is fascinating, and I think we're going to see this expand to other games and other industries as well, where they give you something, some limited ability, some limited exposure for free, and then you pay more for it, whether that's music or news or whatever. I think we're going to see more of this, that, hey, get a taste for free, and then you got to pay for it. And this cloud distribution model, which we talked about cloud gaming a little bit here, I think we're going to see more and more of that people are actually going to own less of the actual thing, whether it's a book, a music, film. You're going to own less of it, and it's going to live somewhere else, and then you're going to pay to access it. There's a convenience associated with that. Many people like the convenience, but there's a lack of control if that service you are getting the subscription or streaming from wants to cut that off or increase the price of it. That could be a drawback. Anyway, that's it. That's what I did. Hopefully I didn't make too many mistakes. Apologies if I did. The end.